Standing by with us is Vince Onyekwelu, a security consultant and a former member of the police force in the United Kingdom. Thank you for joining us on the program. You're welcome.
Thanks, and good morning, Nigerians.
Well, as we've just heard from the report, we know that of the 94 reported missing girls from Dapchi in Yobe State, 48 have come back, but of course there's still many missing. What are your thoughts on the situation that's unfolding, and what do you think needs to be done to counter it?
Thank you so much. It's quite challenging because right now I heard the Commissioner of Police for Yobe State saying that nobody was taken away, and the students and parents are saying that people were actually taken away. So right now we are in this kind of a conundrum where we are not sure if actually what happened. But at the bottom of the day, something serious happened in Yobe State. Something very sad. There was a serious security breach in Yobe State. Although right now the information is kind of scattered, and there seems to be this kind of an intention to cover up. There's this kind of an intention to deceive Nigerians that nothing happened. However, how can we confirm this? The days, the weeks, the month to come could give us more clarity of what actually happened. But the bottom line, in my own sixth sense, in my own gut instinct, something very dire happened in Yobe State at that girls' secondary school.
From the information we have right now, contrary to what the police spokesperson had mentioned in the report, the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Information have been sent to Yobe today by President Buhari. President Buhari has essentially kind of admitted to the fact that, look, there are some missing girls and that this has happened. What are your thoughts about, you know, the potential for our security apparatus to handle not just the safety of the region, but the security of schools in the region?
Honestly, if you have to qualify the security of Nigeria and Nigerians, obviously it's very poorly. It's very poorly in the sense that you don't need to send the Minister of Defense to Yobe State for a situation that you could have proactively managed the situation, knowing that Nigeria has experienced similar thing 3-4 years ago, and here it has happened again, not only in that schools, in many schools in Nigeria. The bottom line is, number one, we lack the willpower to solve national security problems in Nigeria. Forget about the window dressing. You can send the whole troops of army to Yobe State. The fact is, tomorrow, next tomorrow, we're going to be hearing about another situation of security breach in Nigeria. We lack the willpower, we lack the tools and the men to do this job for us. Look at Nigeria right now. We don't have a simple national identity system. Forget about NIMC. We all have slip of papers all over the place. They've been on since 2007. After 11 years of being in existence, with the amount of money being provided for NIMC to give us our national ID cards, all we have are slips of papers up till today. So a country without a biometric database cannot be sure who comes through its borders, especially when the country has got this huge porous borders where you get firearms coming in, you don't know who comes in. People that are blacklisted, terrorists, smugglers, come to the country.
What exactly do you attribute that to? You know, when you talk about the lack of institutional strength, you talk about the lack of willpower on the part of our political actors. What do you attribute that to? Is it a situation of a policy somersault? Is it regime change? What are some of the factors you attribute that to?
First of all, lack of the willpower to get it right. You see, whatever you do in the institutions, if there's no willpower to get it right from the top to the bottom, you're going to be wasting your time. You're going to be doing window dressing. You have a situation where we have a commission, NIMC, to give us national ID cards, biometric, that could have saved us so much. With this issue of missing girls in Yobe State, we could have checked fingerprints to actually get the names of each person that was missing, get their pictures. So we can now find out who are their parents, where do they reside, so we can now confirm. But in the absence of this, we're talking about 50, it could be 60, it could be 100. But because of lack of this simple e-card, we are just only struggling to understand who is missing. That is why in Nigeria today, lives are lost. We just hear 37, 78. We don't know if it's a Mr. A or a Mr. B. Now, in the British police, we have a way of looking about victim care support. When you put a face on a victim of crime, you create awareness in the community. People become emotional. They want to give information to the police or to the army. But when you don't put a face or a name, you could say there were twin sisters. 3 of them are twin from the same parents, and they're missing. These are their names. They are the only kids of their parents. Their parents have been without children for like 10 years after marriage. You put the emotion into that. People will become more interested to look for these 3 twin sisters. But when you just put a number, no name, no face, trust me, we're wasting our time.
In 2014, under the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, in the months following the abduction of the Chibok girls, there was a program set up, a scheme called the Safe Schools Initiative, partnership between UNICEF, the Nigerian government, and also the Nigerian private sector to be able to fortify the security of schools in the Northeast. Now, since then, we really have not heard much about it. Do you think that such a scheme, if it was established effectively and kept consistently at an optimal level, do you think that it's something that could actually prevent this kind of thing, or do you think that it just goes beyond that?
No, it's got great potentials to actually safeguard the kids from such kind of harm. It's got great potential. The Safe School Initiative is a fantastic project that's supposed to save loads of this kind of criminality from occurring. Even if it does occur, there should be a contingency plan in place to be able to help them to reduce the level of criminality. Because at the end of the day, what you call risk assessment in security, you look at how do you protect, how do you reduce, how do you actually control, how do you transfer the risk. You may not be able to stop it completely, but you can be able to reduce it significantly. But in Nigeria, the absence of this project shows that there's no willpower. And how do you sort this thing out? You can work with the locals, work with the local vigilante, then probably supported by one police officer or a DPO around. But it's so basic. That's why I said there's no willpower to get the security architecture of Nigeria right. Because I keep talking about our national ID system, our porous borders. Without these 2 pieces of infrastructure in place, trust me, how do you know who is a criminal? How do you know who is coming to your country? Now, let me give you an example. Some time ago, we heard about a civil servant who was sacked by the previous administration, and he was supposed to be arrested. But boom, he left the country. Nobody knew how he left the country. Not through the airport, not through the seaport. The next second, he was reinstalled, and bang, he came from nowhere back into the country. The next second, he was resacked again, and boom, he was asked to be arrested, and he just disappeared again. It shows you that we don't have the willpower to solve this. Look at Kogi State last year. You got the policemen fighting with the military men. You've got this kind of issues whereby the EFCC goes to arrest a certain civil servant, and a particular agent said that you cannot arrest him. Arms were drawn.
So in your view, a lack of institutional coordination?
It's more of a lack of willpower.
As you've said.
Lack of
now,
willpower.